Solutions. Add-on desires.
Hello viewers, welcome to Audit Solutions Daily Current Affairs. I'm Lokesh Penigunda. This session is designed for aspirants who are preparing for banking, groups and such other competitive examinations. We cover news articles from both the Hindu and the Indian Express. Make a use of this session. First, we have an article which is talking about the Union government's changes in the procurement and distribution policy regarding the vaccinations. Earlier, the Union government has stated that it will provide 100% of the vaccines which are required to vaccinate people who are above 45 years and who are below 18 years. And the Union government has stated that it will only provide 50% of the vaccines that would be required to vaccinate the people who are coming in the 18 to 44 year age group. And it has asked the states to procure and to provide 25% of the vaccines which would be required to vaccinate this group, and the Union government has stated that the rest 25% would be given or would have to be taken by the private institutions. So if you have 100 persons in the country in the age group of 18 to 44 years, the earlier policy stated that 50 persons will be given vaccines by the Union government, 25 persons would be given vaccines by the state government, and the rest 25 persons have to go to private institutions and have to pay for these vaccines. So this was the earlier policy which was announced by the Union government. Later, there was huge criticism of this policy. So why was the earlier policy criticized by many states? The states have stated that if we have to procure 25% of the vaccines that would be required to vaccinate the people belonging to the 18 to 44 year age group, then we have to pay a lot of amount to buy these vaccines. And they've stated that due to COVID-19, the revenue of these states have reduced. So there is not much money to pay for these vaccines. And there are some states who have tried to buy these vaccines at international level, and there were not much bids to provide the vaccines. So when there are states such as the Telangana, Maharashtra, Andhra Pradesh and Karnataka, when these states try to buy vaccines in the open, they did not get much bids to buy these vaccines. So for all these reasons, there was huge criticism on the Union government's policy, and the chief ministers of several states such as the Kerala Chief Minister, Andhra Pradesh Chief Minister, Jharkhand and Delhi Chief Ministers, they have written open letters to the Prime Minister of the country asking the PM to provide the 25% which the states were asked to provide as well. So now the Prime Minister in yesterday's interview have stated that from now onwards the Union government will not ask the states to provide for the 25% vaccines, and he stated that for 18 to 44 year age group will provide that 75% vaccines. That means will not only provide the 50% vaccines which the Union government has agreed earlier, but also will provide 25% of the vaccines the states were earlier asked to pay or earlier asked to procure. It means that 75% of these vaccines will be procured by the Union government, and 25% of these vaccines have to be brought or bought from private hospitals. So this is an important change which happened earlier. So we'll see what all will be the changes when it comes to the private hospital. So for people who are in the 18 to 44 year age group, if they go to private hospitals, they might have to shell a lot amount of money apart from service charge of 150 rupees. But if a person of less than 18 years and if a person of more than 45 years, they can go to the private hospitals and they can get vaccine, but they have to pay only 150 rupees, because for these people it is the Union government that will provide the money to the private hospitals. So this is what that is changed after the yesterday's Prime Minister's announcement. Next, we have an article which is talking about the United Nations General Assembly President. Monday, there was an election to the United Nations General Assembly. We know that there is a UN body and this UN body has 193 members, and every year the president of this body will be elected by the members. And for the year 2021 to 2022, on Monday we have seen the election, and in this election a person from Maldives has been elected. So when person from Maldives and person from Afghanistan contested in this election, the Maldives person have been elected, and the country Maldives and the person who supported by Maldives got 143 votes of the 191 votes that are casted. And India has also supported the Maldives person, and we'll see the name of the Maldives supported person who has been declared the President of the United Nations General Assembly for the year 2021 and 2022. He is Mr. Abdullah Shahid. So Abdullah Shahid is the current Foreign Affairs Minister of Maldives, and he has contested in the United Nations General Assembly presidential election, and he has won by securing 143 votes of nearly 191 votes cast. And we'll see who is the outgoing president of the United Nations General Assembly. The Turkish diplomat Mr. Volkan Bozkır. Mr. Volkan Bozkır is the current UN General Assembly's president. So what you have to know is that Abdullah Shahid will be the president for 2021 to 22, and the outgoing president of this UNGA body is Mr. Volkan Bozkır, who is a Turkish diplomat. Next we have an article which is dealing about a new initiative brought out by the police department of Manipur. Manipur is a northeastern state, and the police in the Manipuri district of Senapati has announced a competition. This competition is the COVID-free village competition. COVID-free village competition. The police department have stated that those villages that have zero COVID cases in the coming up days will be given several prizes, and the first prize in the contest is 10,000 rupees, followed by the second and the third prize. So what you need to know is that the COVID-free village competition is a police department started competition in the northeastern state of Manipur. Next we have an article which is talking about a new book released and written by Mr. Ram Madhav. Mr. Ram Madhav was the National General Secretary of the BJP, which is a political party, and he has written a book which is named as Because India Comes First. Because India Comes First. And it is also stated that he will write one more book on the BJP ideologue Mr. Deen Dayal Upadhyay in the coming up days. Next we have an article dealing with the World Bank approving $500 million loan for accelerating the MSME sector in the country. For accelerating the MSME sector in the country. So what is this MSME sector? MSME stands for micro, small and medium enterprises and medium enterprises. You should know that the MSME sector in the country provides for 30% of the GDP in the country, and it provides jobs to millions of the people in the country. So MSME sector plays an important role in the development of this country, and when the COVID pandemic has struck the country, the MSME sector is undergoing huge stress due to this. And last year the World Bank has announced $750 million. It has announced last year $750 million under the MSME Emergency Response Program. MSME Emergency Response Program. And now it has announced $500 million. It has announced $500 million for MSME under the RAMP program, under the RAMP or the RAMP initiative. So what is this RAMP program or the initiative? The RAMP stands for Rising and Accelerating Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises Performance. So RAMP is a program of the World Bank, and it is providing $500 million through this program to the MSMEs in the country. So cumulatively, the World Bank is providing nearly $1.25 billion to the MSME sector in the last 1 year. Next, we have an article which is talking about Miss Keiko Fujimori leading the polls in the country Peru. So we'll see where Peru is. Peru is a western coastal country in the South American continent. In the South American continent. It shares its borders with countries such as the Brazil and Equatorial Guinea. You should also know that the capital of Peru is Lima, and Miss Keiko Fujimori is leading the presidential polls in the country of Peru. Next, we have an article which is dealing with the Boko Haram group. So it is stated that the Boko Haram group's leader has been killed in an action with its rivals. So we'll see what is this Boko Haram. Boko Haram is a jihadist. It is a jihadist terrorist organization. It is a jihadist terrorist organization mainly based in the country of Nigeria. And apart from taking or acting in the country of Nigeria, it has conducted numerous raids and it has conducted numerous atrocities in countries such as the Mali, Chad and other neighboring countries. And the leader of this Boko Haram terrorist group, Mr. Abu Bakr Sheku, has been killed in an action against the rival Islamic State terrorists. As we have dealing with the country Nigeria, we'll see its capital again. The capital of Nigeria is Abuja. Next, we have an article where the MNC firm Google has stated that it will change its global advertising practices as a part of a landmark antitrust deal it has signed with the country France. The country France, a few years back, has initiated a probe to see whether Google is misusing its dominant position as an advertiser, and this probe has stated that yes, the Google firm is misusing its dominant position, and the country France has imposed $268 million as fine on this multinational company. It means around 2,000 crores is imposed as a fine for Google misusing its dominant position in the advertising market. And now Google, as a part of this deal, have stated that not only it will pay this 2,000 crores to the government of France, but also it will change its global advertising practices so that it will help the advertisers as well. Next, we have an article where the SEBI, which stands for the Securities and Exchange Market of India, Exchange Board of India, have stated that it is barring the Franklin Templeton Asset Management Company for floating new debt funds for 2 years. So we'll see what is the SEBI. SEBI stands for Securities and Exchange Board of India. It is a statutory body. It is a statutory body. That means a law has been brought by the parliament, and this law brought by the parliament is providing for setting up of this body. So what is the law the parliament has brought to establish this organization? It is the SEBI Act of 1992. So the Securities Exchange Board of India has been established in 1992 by an act of parliament, and it is the market regulator of the capital markets in the country. So it is a market regulator of capital markets in the country. The major function of this regulator is to protect the investors. It is to protect the investors and to regulate the capital markets. And as a part of its regulation power, it has stated that it is barring the asset management company, that is the Frankel Templeton, to start any new debt bonds for 2 more years, because SEBI is of the view that this asset management company has not followed many rules brought by the grouping, and it is not following many acts made by the parliament, and that's why it is barring the Frankel Templeton to not issue any new debt bonds for next 2 years. And also it has stated that this Frankel Templeton would also have to pay 5 crore rupees as a penalty. Next we have an article dealing with the performance grading index. Yesterday we have seen how the Ministry of Education has brought the 3rd edition of performance grading index, and this is for the year of 2019 to 20. And we have seen yesterday how the state of Punjab has topped this index. We'll see other states and we'll see the score these states have been getting in the 3rd edition of this index. So in the report card of 2019-20, we can see the state score. First is the state of Punjab. Next we have seen the Chandigarh Union Territory topping the list, and these are the other states and union territories which are getting the given score. What you need to know is that several northeastern states, mainly the state of Arunachal, Nagaland and Meghalaya, have come under the bottom part of this list. So these are lagging in the performance grading index. You should also know that the performance grading index was designed by the Department of Education and the Niti Aayog. So these are some things that you need to note it down when it comes to the examination point of view. Next we have an article where the United States Food and Drug Administration has for the first time in nearly 2 decades has approved a drug for Alzheimer's. So what is this Alzheimer's disease? Alzheimer's is a progressive disease that will affect the affected person's memory. So the memory of a person will be affected if he is infected by the Alzheimer's disease, and also not only it will affect the memory, but also it will affect the mental status and mental functions of the infected persons. And people who are generally above 55-60 years are affected by this Alzheimer's disease. And in the last 2 decades there was no drug which was released in the market to treat the Alzheimer's disease, and now for the first time in 2 decades the United States Food and Drug Administration, which is Apex Drug Administration and Drug Regulator in the United States, has approved a new drug to treat this Alzheimer's disease, and this drug is named as the Aducanumab drug. So Aducanumab is a drug which is approved by the US medical regulators to treat the Alzheimer's disease. Next we have an article where several experts have flagged issues regarding the PNB stake sale in its housing subsidiary. So we have a subsidiary of the Punjab National Bank, which is the Punjab National Bank Housing Finance. So this is a subsidiary of the Punjab National Bank, and last week the consortium led by Carlyle Investment Group have stated that it is planning to buy a significant stake in this housing finance subsidiary of the Punjab National Bank, and it also announced that it will use 4,000 crores to buy these shares. And now the experts have stated that if Carlyle Group is buying 4,000 crore worth shares from the Punjab National Bank Housing Finance, then the stake of Carlyle Group in this housing finance will increase to 50%, whereas the stake of Punjab National Bank in its subsidiary, that is the Punjab National Bank Housing Finance, will be reduced to 20% nearly. So when the Punjab National Bank is selling a stake to the Carlyle Group after taking 4,000 crores. Its stake, that is, its ownership in its own subsidiary, will be reduced to nearly 20.6%, which is less than the government assured ownership. The government and the Punjab National Bank earlier have stated that it will have at least 26%. That means it will continue to hold 26% in the Punjab National Bank's housing finance, so that it will be able to veto any decisions the housing finance will take in the coming up days. So let's say if the management of the housing finance of the Punjab National Bank plans to take a decision, if the Punjab National Bank or the government holds at least 25%, if it is holding at least 25%, then it can veto. That means it can stop the action of the management board of this housing finance. And now, if the Carlyle Group is buying a huge stake, then the government stake in the housing finance of Punjab National Bank will be reduced to nearly 20.6%, and it would not be able to veto any decisions which the management board will take in future. And experts and the minority stakeholders have been criticizing this move by the Carlyle Group and the Government of India. And with this, we have come to the end of this session. Inform about ADOT's initiative to your other aspirant friends. Thank you for watching.
Add-on solutions. Add-on desires.